Well, welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. What are we doing today?
Planting peppers and hopefully planting my flowers out too.
Okay, in other words, you're planting.
I'm planting, yeah.
Lisa does the planting, y'all, and she's got quite a few pepper plants here of different types to do. So we'll take you along for that, show you planting a few peppers. Got some other stuff to do too, planting some corn. Got to put a wire up for her trellis for the tomatoes that she's already got, her indeterminates. Bring you along for a little bit of all of it, y'all. Thanks for stopping in at the Piney Woods. Hit that old like and subscribe if you hadn't. And as always, if you have,
we appreciate you.
That's right. Let's get down here and get in the garden, y'all.
I think between the 3 trays, I have about 90 plants. There's 3 different varieties of jalapenos, 2 different varieties of bell peppers, and then from last year, if you haven't seen, I grew 3 varieties of, well, last year I grew 2 varieties of what's considered a Hungarian stuffing pepper, but they're very similar to a bell, and that was the only saving grace for a lot of peppers last year for us as far as sweet peppers. So I've got 3 varieties of those this year: an orange, a red, and a yellow. So those will go down here as well. We will have to Florida weave the jalapenos.
We means you, right?
Yes, we means me. I recently saw Florida weave referred to as the Tennessee tangle, and I think that's kind of a more accurate description of it, but it does work decent for peppers, more so than for tomatoes. But the Hungarian ones, they don't need that, so only about a little over half we will have to Florida weave.
So how many total you reckon you got here plants?
There's around 90 total.
All right, good. Y'all, it's funny, when I was getting all the groundwork out here, Lisa was showing me what to do because she said it was her garden and she wanted it a certain way. Now she's saying, when we do this, when we do that. I guess when it comes time to picking, it's going to be a we thing too. But that's all right, y'all. It's all part of it. We enjoy working in the garden.
Well, we is I.
We is I?
Yeah, a lot of times you say we.
Yeah, we is I.
It's going to be, hopefully, you doing it.
Yeah. It's a we thing.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing but a we thing, baby. Ain't that right? That's some 1990s for you.
Oh, I'm leaving on that one.
I think I'm leaving on that one too. That whole thing works pretty good.
It works really good. And I forgot we had 2 poblanos, so.
That's what's going in now.
Yeah, these are the 2 poblanos because
they're really good for stuffing.
And they're really good, and they're really prolific, and so we only needed 2. And I'm doing the same thing that I did with the tomatoes, putting a handful of the pelleted gypsum. And another good thing with the gypsum, besides being a calcium source for the tomatoes, is that it helps to loosen clay dirt, which this through here is really good dirt because we have cover crop for so many years, but it does still have clay in it. So
I think all of this area is clay.
yeah.
And I cuss about it every year.
Yep.
I tell you, bedding up the rows, that's the way to go. Nice and loose, moist.
Well, and the good thing with it being raised too is it'll get, if we have heavy rains,
We will.
it's, well, when we have our next heavy rains, the water will stay here and it will the hills will take up the water it needs. So instead of the plants being straight, flat, and getting drowned out, they won't.
It's going to act as a wick.
Right. Well, there we go.
Look at the roots on that. Hold that up. Look at the roots on that. I'd say you've done a good job once again at starting all of our plants.
I try, and I enjoy it. And I could plant this deeper, but because you can do the same thing with peppers as you do with tomatoes. You know, I could have took it up to there if I wanted to, but
I'd say you're good.
yeah, there's no need to.
All right, while Lisa continues with pepper planting this 125-foot row of peppers, I got to get this high tensile steel wire attached up here for her indeterminate tomatoes that she planted yesterday. And I came in here while she was planting those tomatoes yesterday, and I double rowed one row of October beans, one row of Dixie butter peas, and one row of Ford Hook limas. Everything's double rowed, nice wide hills, 125 feet long each in this part of the garden. So should do pretty good. And so now let me get a ladder out, because these fence posts are about, well, they're almost 8 feet tall, and I can't reach quite that high, y'all. Seven and a half feet tall. That's where the wire will be, on the top or near the top. So I'll climb the ladder and I'll show you what I'm gonna put up. I'll put a strainer on this end so that we can tighten up the wire a little, and then run my high tensile and attach it to the top of each post with just a metal staple. Y'all, spent 30 minutes looking for a simple little tool that you put on the end of your wire and turn it around, tighten it up. I couldn't find it. So either I have one and have misplaced it, because I know what it looks like, or I'm thinking about my dad's, because I've used his before. But there's not going to be a lot of tension on this thing, so it's not going to be that big of a deal if it's not perfect. But all this will do is hang out here like this, the wire go through the end, be able to tighten it up just a hair so that she can tie her tomato plants up to it as they grow. We spared y'all the tedious process of getting this high tensile steel pulled out, because if you've ever worked with it, you know it is really stiff wire and it can be a real burden to get out. But got it hooked up, and there's not going to be a ton of tension put on this, y'all. I'm going the wrong way. No, I'm going the right way. And it just ratchets this fence strainer And that's all the tension I'll put on this. And as she starts stringing these up and there starts getting to be weight, these posts, they're going to squeeze in some because they're only 2 foot in the ground and they're not packed like a fence post. But that's okay. It's going to hold them up. We'll be able to get enough tension on it to make this happen. And the wire is sitting on the top of the other post with a fence staple holding it in place. So it just rides up there, but 125 foot of high tensile steel and one little strainer and some posts off the sawmill to get this trellis system put in for Lisa to make her tomato gardening that much more enjoyable. Y'all, I'm fixing to plant some Blue Lake bush beans. 2 rows, 2 50-foot rows, and they'll double row them because we've got nice wide hills, and I've already gone through and put out a light coating of 10-10-10, just a basic vegetable fertilizer, pre-plant. And these seeds are from last year, so we're going to use them up. There's maybe a half a pound here, and I'm probably going to have to go up there and get some more out of the freezer. I ended up having to go back and get a few more seed out of the freezer, but all I'm doing now is going around with the hoe, and anywhere I see a seed shining that I didn't get it covered good with the planter, I just cover it with just a little dirt and tap it down. All right, all of these rows are tamped in. These 2 rows that we just double rowed with Blue Lake bush beans. And y'all are 70 foot long. I think I told you 50. That's what the cattle panel with the tomatoes, the short row over here is. That's 50 foot. The rest of them are 70 feet long. And this new section of garden has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows in it. So that's a good addition to our 7-row garden down the hill. Plus, Lisa had me hill up down here. She's going to plant watermelons, right? Watermelons this year down here. We had them in the yard last year. This year, corn's going up there. So I got to plant that later today. But I believe that's about all the planting I'm going to do down here for the day. Y'all, that's gonna wrap it up for us today here at the Piney Woods Homestead. Lisa's still planting peppers. I've gotten all the green beans planted down here. We'll do some in a raised bed as well. Rabbits are gonna get some of those. That's kind of the one thing we plant on the edge we don't care if they get. So, and that's what they really like down here. Let's see, got last year's and the year before and the year before that. Scarecrow put up, Super Crow. Got our turkey put up in the corner.
Sunflowers planted.
Sunflowers planted back here. Another strand, had just enough hot wire left to put 1 strand, keep deer out of the watermelon patch. Hopefully, just 1 strand, but it'll probably work.
Well, and they're going to have the buffer of the sunflowers.
Yeah.
Sunflowers too, because
they like sunflowers. The deer love them.
The sunflowers are closest to
the edge,
woods, and then the melons will be this side.
Yeah, that's true. We put some cages around them to start with. Just
Yeah.
keep stuff out of there. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Really, it's not going to wrap it up for us. We're not done, but we're wrapping it up for video. You guys have a good day, a great week. We'll see you on the next one. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise too high. Too high.